Hey guys, Michael back with Horizon Trading. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, something very basic, not even a strategy or anything, just the sort of things you need to know and kind of get into to be able to get into Forex in general. Okay, so kind of what you need to learn, what you need to look out for, the basic markers for you to actually, markers and steps to actually get into Forex. Okay, so let's start out. First thing is obviously the basics. You need to know what's going on. You need to know what a market is, why it moves, why a graph looks the way it is, what candles are, what brokers are, kind of what Forex is, stuff like that. So you need to know the basics, right? You can do that by, reading books on topics. There are plenty of amazing, very good books. That's not an issue. There are courses, including our own courses, but apart from that, just general very basic courses and YouTube videos and stuff. And apart from that, I think the best thing you can do probably for this is find a community. Find a community of people who trade. Find a community of people who are ready to answer your questions. Forum or maybe whatever else. A community of people who are into this, who've been doing this for a while, who are ready to welcome you, and they can teach you so much, honestly. When you have a place where you can interact with people who know how to trade, when you can ask questions and stuff, it's very easy to actually get into it, and if you run into something, you kind of get your answers, okay? So that was basics. That's one of the most important things. So next up we have a strategy. You need to find a strategy, which is essentially it's kind of rules of conduct in the market. So how you're going to be entering, how you're going to be exiting, stuff like that, right? So the important markers of a strategy are that it has a concrete list of rules. So very specific rules, which obviously you have to follow, but if the strategy doesn't have specific rules, you're going to have a hard time following them. So you need to have a strategy which tells you exactly what to do, how to do it, in what circumstances, and you also need to follow it, okay? The next thing is money management. Any good strategy, it's only as good as the money management, because, you may have a strategy that wins, 9 out of 10 deals, but the one deal you lose makes you lose all your profits, so you don't want that, okay? It needs to have very good concrete money management. Next thing is keep it simple, especially if you're starting out, but I'd say in general, really. You want a simple strategy. You don't want something that's too difficult. You don't want something that's kind of difficult to get into, because if I'm going to be honest, I think the main kind of underrated thing in Forex is simplicity. Like, the simpler, well, not the simpler it is, the better, but some of the best strategies I've seen, they're really not complicated. They're very easy to, kind of easy to learn, hard to master kind of thing. Find something simple, find something functional and simple, and try to use that. And you have to understand the one thing, that there's always a catch. To any strategy, there's going to be a losing period, there's going to be, a certain maybe, there's going to be a blind spot, and that's okay. When you're looking for strategy, backtest it on, strategy testers, backtest it on, previous market movement. Just look at how it works, try to find what the weak point is, because there's always going to be a weak point in any strategy. Even in our strategy, there's also, I'm sure, if you look hard enough, you'll find a weak point. The point is that it's very important to actually make sure that you understand this, that there is no holy grail, there is no definitive strategy. There's always going to be something that's not that good with the strategy, and you have to know how to find that and to look out for that, okay? So that was strategy. The next thing is finding a broker. Now, brokers are incredibly important. There are plenty of good brokers out there, but honestly, a lot of people seem to not understand the fact that there are way more, terrible brokers, horrible brokers, which are basically there just to take your money. And there's lots of rules on how to pick a broker, which I think is a very important topic in general, because your trading is only going to be as good as your broker is, because if you have a terrible broker, chances are, no matter how good you are, you're not going to be able to, for one thing, withdraw your deposit. So what's the point, really? Basically, one thing you have to understand, that leverage, which you'll learn about at some point. Leverage is basically, for example, you put in $100 and the leverage is 1 to 100, so you have $1,000 buying power. So that's what leverage is. So the point is that leverage is, it's good. It's good, especially if you want to inflate your deposit. It's good for seasoned traders. But if you're a beginner, you do not need a large leverage. You don't need, 1 to 500, 1 to 100, even 1 to 50 sometimes. It's unnecessary. You're not going to need that. The bigger the leverage, the bigger the losses. And the one thing you have to understand, that if a broker tries to get you to have as large a leverage as possible, what's going to happen is they will simply get you to lose that money, and when you lose it, it's going to be their money. So, if a broker's trying to get you to go for a larger leverage, that's probably not a good sign. So maybe think about something different. Now, commission and spread, they're both kind of types of commission. Commission is just generally the amount of money you pay for every single deal you make, and spread is essentially the difference between the buy and sell price, which every broker has, and the tighter the spread, the less that difference is, and the less that difference is, the less money per kind of opening of a deal you lose. Okay, so look for a tight spread and preferably not a big commission. Then the next thing is regulation. I mean, I don't think I have to spell this out for you. Look for a regulated broker. Some broker that's regulated by the Faroe Islands is probably not the most trustworthy kind of group of fellows. Look for a broker that's regulated, preferably in your country or in the UK or in the US. Some big financial bodies regulating, like the FDA and stuff. It's very important that, okay? And I think something that is also overlooked is good customer service. So the ability to withdraw and put money in. Essentially, for one thing, you want your questions answered quickly, especially if you're new. And it's very important to be able to have contact with your broker. But apart from that, also try to maybe go in with a small amount of dollars, like put in $100 and then take it out. See how long it takes to get into your account. See how long it takes to actually have the money, be taken out of the account and to your card or bank account. And in fact, whether it goes back to your bank account at all, try to scout these things out. Also read reviews. Look for just take all of this into consideration, essentially. A good broker is a combination of all of this being, tip-top. Okay, now the next thing is, obviously, after you've done that, you're going to go for a demo account. Now, plenty of brokers offer, very good demo services, and it's very important to actually go for a demo. Demo accounts are very important, but there's one single thing you have to remember about a demo account, and it's that you have to take it seriously. A lot of people, when it's not real money, they start messing about, they start, going for bigger leverage, they start, taking on deals they wouldn't take on with, with a real account. Don't do that. Take a demo seriously. If you're not able to take it seriously, you're going to lose when you go into a live account, and that's not something you want. Now, a live account, that's a different animal altogether. So, first thing you have to do is just chill. The emotions on a live account are a lot realer than on a demo account. They're going to be completely different. Your psychology is going to switch just like that on a live account. So you have to keep that in mind. Just be be mindful of your emotions. Become a Jedi, essentially, is what I'm saying. Because if you don't chill, if you don't, just take it easy with a live account, you're going to lose. Because psychology is one of the main aspects of trading in general, I'd say. You're only as good, and your strategy is only as good as you are at controlling your emotions. So just be calm, follow your strategy, especially if you verify that it's a good strategy, and don't try to make money back with an impulsive deal or something like that. Just take it easy. Okay, now the next thing, again, I go back to this: beginners don't need a large leverage. Even on a live account, large leverage, the larger the leverage, the larger the losses. You do not need a big leverage, especially if you're beginning. Later when you're experienced, when you've gotten down to it, when you have maybe something more of a complicated strategy or something like that, maybe then you can go for a leverage. And even then, I wouldn't be so sure. I personally think that leverage, especially if you're a beginner, chances are you're going to want to trade aggressively, but honestly, I urge you to trade conservatively as a beginner. And if you're a beginner, you don't need a large leverage, especially if you're trading conservatively. If you can make 4% a month or 10% a month, that's great. That's amazing. You don't need 100% a month. You don't need 200% a month if you're beginning. Making a living off of forex, it takes years to achieve that level, and it's not just the strategy, it's not just the broker, it's the ability to control what's in here, and it's the ability to understand what trading is, and then maybe you can go into a large leverage, and even then you'd probably have your own reason not to do it. So just don't do it. Now, it's very important to have a plan when you're trading. It's very important, because if you don't have a plan, you probably will lose. I want to make this amount of deals, I want to make that amount of money, and make them realistic as well. If you don't have a plan, what are you doing? You're just randomly trading and randomly entering deals? No, that you don't want that. You need to have a very specific plan of action with what you're going to do, what's going to happen with your deposit, what's going to happen when you're trading, stuff like that. I think we should recap. Okay. Basics. Know what's happening. Don't go in to trading without knowing what pips are, or knowing what candles